Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Northeast. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, we'll check out the satellite picture here first on this Friday. Happy Friday to ya. We're watching a storm system pass off to the south of the region right now, and that is the remnants of Tropical Storm Beta, making their way off again across the mid-Atlantic. Mostly sunny skies for a lot of us here across the Northeast as we get started on this Friday morning. Dry conditions for many across the Northeast as well. Maybe a very light shower across far upstate New York, pushing into northern New Hampshire and Vermont this morning, but otherwise dry. Today it has been dry for the last 7 days as well as we look at this corridor all the way from the southern plains into the Northeast. Again, lots of heavy precipitation from Beta across the southern U.S. Heavy rainfall here across the Pacific Northwest, which has been badly needed, but dry conditions across the midsection of the country over the last week. Now we're going to see a big change in the jet stream right now. As we get started with the weekend here on Friday, we're watching a big core of strong jet stream winds across the Pacific Ocean. Those are going to be moving ashore into the Pacific Northwest today. As we head through the next week, we're going to end up with a pattern here with a big ridge in the west, a big trough in the east. It's going to make some changes with our temperature pattern here as well, bringing a lot of cool air back into the central part of the country. Now we may see some of that cooler air moving into our part of the country as we get into the later part of the week, but it's going to be more of a central and southern U.S. thing here as we head into the first part of the coming week. Now, this is going to bring in a chance of some additional rainfall across the region, or reintroduce a chance of rainfall across the Midwest here, the Eastern Corn Belt, Great Lakes, and Northeast. Again, after what's been a relatively dry last 7 days, we'll see the opportunity for a lot of us to pick up an inch or two of rainfall here over the next 7 days. Again, what the evolution looks like here with the 500 millibar wind speeds, we're watching that jet core. We're just offshore, moving across the Pacific Northwest right now. It'll be a series of several waves that actually ends up amplifying the jet stream across the region. We've got one that's out ahead here, could trigger some strong storms across parts of Wisconsin and the UP of Michigan this afternoon and evening. A second wave comes in right on its heels here, bringing another chance, a renewed chance for strong storms in the upper Midwest tomorrow afternoon. There's another piece of that now diving in. This one helps it dig across the central U.S., and it's with the European model last night, almost wanting to do what we saw a few weeks ago across the western U.S., where we see this big wave come down, and it actually gets cut off from the main polar jet up here. And so right now, the latest European model wants to kind of cut this model, or cut this wave off as the finisher kind of comes in here on the backside as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. And so that would have some big implications here to how this evolves. And so we'll have to kind of watch this over the next couple of days as we go through the weekend. So we might have some interesting things to talk about here as we get into Monday. As it stands right now, this thing gets picked back up by the polar jet as we get into Thursday and Friday, and then lifts across the region. That would bring us the best upper level lift for some heavier precipitation across the region. That would also finally drag that cold front through and bring a reset to our temperatures, a bit cooler as well. Again, as we get into the end of next week right now, this is a bit of something we'll be talking about a lot as we go through the next week, but really the Northeast is the last one to feel this change. So let's look at the precipitable water plot. This shows us our moisture depth within the atmosphere. And again, I've been showing this recently for a couple of reasons, most notable to show that the deepest moisture over the last 2 weeks has been really trapped down in the Gulf of Mexico by some of our big fronts sweeping through initially, and then some of our tropical systems down there. So as we get going through the weekend into the early part of the week, this front still is really starved for deeper moisture. It's as we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week that we really start to kind of match the frontal boundary back up with some deeper moisture. Right now, with that low cutting off and then getting picked back up Wednesday and Thursday, we get a pretty intense cyclone developing across the south, lifting into the mid-south, and then into the northeast as we get into the end of next week with a bunch of dry air coming in on the backside. So as we head through the weekend, it should be relatively quiet across the Northeast. A few showers and maybe a rumble of thunder moving through the state of Pennsylvania on Saturday night. I'll show you that once again. Again, here is Beta, excuse me, the remnants of Beta quietly pushing off to the Atlantic Ocean. But some of that moisture could make its way into southern and central portions of Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. As we get into the morning hours on Saturday, should be drying out with maybe just a few raindrops here and there across part of the coastal areas here Saturday evening, but otherwise a dry weekend. Across the Northeast, this is where we're showing the severe weather threat across the upper Midwest, Wisconsin, today and tomorrow. Let's look a little bit longer range with the European model. This will take us through the end of the week when we finally get a better chance of some rain here in the Northeast. So here's Friday. We're taking it all the way into Saturday. A chance of some light rain in the south of the Northeast region here, southern portions of Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Quiet as we go through Saturday night. Quiet on Sunday. And then on Monday, we finally start lifting some of this moisture into the Northeast. So some light rain possible during the day on Monday. Better chances for more measurable precipitation come as that wave finally lifts out of the south. So it's going to be kind of cool, cloudy. Chances for light rain Tuesday and Wednesday. Better chance for a soaking rain as we get into Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe Friday. We'll talk about the timing more specifically as we get into next week. But right now, the chance to pick up an inch or two of rainfall here, again, late next week. We're going to have to wait for this wave to lift out of the mid-south, out of the southern U.S., again, as we get into Thursday, probably. We're looking at the probability of picking up a half an inch of rainfall or more over the next week between now and October 2nd. And again, you get those red colors across the Northeast all the way down to the Southeast. And that's where, again, I think it'll probably end up around an inch or two of rainfall for a lot of folks as we get this low to lift through late next week. Breezy conditions at times across the midsection of the country. It should be relatively quiet across the Northeast until we get into Sunday. That's when we can see some of those southerly winds gusting 10 to 25 miles per hour. Your high temperatures for the next 5 days, mid to upper 70s today. Tomorrow, low 80s, more numerous across the region. Keeping the warmth in place until we get into Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday is when that cool air will start to finally creep into the region, and I bet we'll be looking at a much cooler weekend next weekend across the Northeast.